Hey everyone, how's it going? I don't know if you can see from the reflection of my glasses, we have a little fire going in our fire pit out back. So some of you really liked it or enjoyed that one that I did with the stories by the campfire. So, you know, like the Yule log type thing. So, figure let's do another one. So, being a mechanic, being in this industry, every once in a while, we get situations where somebody gives us a vehicle. Or we get a fantastic deal on a vehicle that we can't turn down, if you know what I mean. Like somebody will say, I don't want to fix it, give me X amount for it. You know, sometimes people are out of their minds thinking, you know, they have a car that's worth 10 grand, and it's like, no, it wouldn't be worth 10 grand if it was working perfectly. You know what I mean? But every once in a while, you get situations where people will just give you cars. So let's start with that. So back when I had my shop, it happened on several occasions where people would give me cars. And when I was located in Rye, New York, and what would happen is we used to have a lot of diplomats that would come into town and stay there. They would rent apartments or whatever for a period of time, and then they would have to leave abruptly, usually, because their whatever visas ran out or their countries called them back and they had to go back home. And I used to work on a lot of their cars too. But a lot of times what would happen is they would buy cars and it would be a temporary situation. Like they wouldn't have it, like they would only have it for 6 months or a year, and then they would get rid of it cheaply because they had to go. Well, I had this one case in particular where one day a limousine pulls into our lot and the guy gets out and he says, I had actually never seen him before. And he turns out he was a diplomat. And he says, hey, do you junk cars? So I said, yeah, I junk cars. So he says, what do you need to junk the car? And he goes, I have the keys and I have the title. He goes, and the car's in my driveway. So I said, that's really all I need is just the title and the keys. So he gives me the address and he says, the car is sitting there and if you could have it towed out of there and junked, I would really appreciate it. I'm like, okay. I said, what's wrong with the car? He says, well, it died on me while I was driving, and the tow truck driver told me I needed an engine, that the engine had blown. It's like, oh, okay. So now I look at the title, and the car was only like a 5-year-old Honda Accord. It was, you know, a reasonably new car. So I'm like, okay, well, that's really weird. Like, what happened? Did this guy run this thing out of oil? Or, you know, something must have happened. Maybe he hit something in the road. I don't know. So he gives me everything, and he leaves. He was heading towards the airport. He was leaving the country at that moment in time. So I'm like, all right. So I have all the paperwork and everything else. So I go to where the car is, and it's actually at an apartment complex. So I find the car in the parking lot, and I go up to it. It's a clean Honda Accord 4-door. Like I said, it was about 5 years old. So it was like a late 80s. Like maybe it was like a 1988, 89, because it was probably 1994 at the time. So I go and I look at the car real quick, and I'm like, no, it cannot be this simple. So I run back to the shop. I grab something from the shop. I go back over to the car, and I take the thing that I got from the shop and I put it into the car. And sure enough, the car started up, and it ran fine. The car ran out of gas. So the car had run out of gas. So I took it, and I went and got one of my guys from the shop. This way they could drive me over. I got the car and I drove it back to the shop. And it was really only about 3 blocks away. I had no problem driving cars with no license and registration, or no registration, no insurance on them. The police there, I was friends with all the police officers there, including the police chief and everything else. They used to come to me for everything. So it was kind of cool. But anyway, so I get the car back to the shop, and sure enough, you know, I check it out. Everything's fine. It does not need an engine. But now I tried to contact the guy, and of course back then cell phones were relatively new, so not everybody had cell phones. The guy was gone. He was gone from the country. So I got myself a Honda Accord, a 4 or 5 year old Honda Accord that just needed gas in it. So at that point what I did was I actually changed the oil in it. I did a timing belt on it. I think it needed tires, so I might have put tires on it, and I put brakes on it. So I had, like, at the time, maybe a grand total of $800 in the car. And sure enough, as always with me, somebody comes up that I know, and they had a family member that needed a car desperately because of some situation going on. So I wound up giving the car away. And it was to a good cause, but yes, I did give the car away. And I've done that plenty of times where I've given my stuff away because somebody was in need. And, you know, I got the car for nothing. Yes, I put $800 into it. I made up a bill through the shop, and I was able to deduct it from the taxes of the shop because I did turn around and gift the car to somebody else. So, you know, exactly what my accountant did at the time, couldn't tell you. I have no idea. He was really good, but he really helped me with a lot of things like that whenever I did give away stuff. So, but yeah, I did give the car away, and it was kind of cool because the person that needed it was a mother with a young child, and she needed a car desperately just to get back and forth to work and everything else. So I gave it to them, and you know, she was so darn happy. My friend who introduced me to her, he actually wanted to pay me for the work that I did, and I said, no, don't worry about it. It's on me. It's a gift. Don't worry. So that's one story in particular. And like I said, I've done that on numerous occasions, you know, things like that. I had another situation one time where I purchased a Dodge Caravan from our used car auction at the dealer. And I had it at the shop, and I was basically, I bought it to turn around and flip it. And a buddy of mine, his girlfriend was working with a woman's shelter, and similar situation where there was a woman there that had 2 kids and needed transportation. And basically they reached out to me and they asked me if I would be willing to donate the vehicle to them for that particular reason. And of course I'm like, you know what, I just paid $1,000 for this thing. I was going to turn around and sell it for like $4,000 or whatever, and I wasn't really feeling all that great about doing it. But then they said, you know, we can give you a tax deductible receipt for it, so you would actually get whatever the fair market value is as a tax deduction. And this is before they changed the laws on that. So basically I wound up donating it, and I got a nice tax deduction on it. So, you know, I helped somebody out. I didn't get what I wanted for the car, obviously, but I helped myself out at the same time. But, you know, it kind of feels good to be able to do that on occasion, just, you know, help people out. I'm doing that right now. I'm helping somebody out with a car that they needed. But that's coming to an end soon, hopefully. But anyway, that's pretty much it. I thought I'd just share that little tidbit of a story with you. I hope you're enjoying the fire. So, if you got anything out of that story, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. If you're enjoying these kind of stories by the campfire, let me know. Because now with the weather getting cooler, as you can see, I got my hoodie on. With the weather getting cooler, we're going to have more fires out here, so I could do more of these stories if you want. It's up to you. Let me know in the comments. All right, guys. There again, I hope you got something out of that video. If you did, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. All right, have a great day. Keep wrenching.